we're going to do the new home of the revolution achievement in this video, which is Mexico with Trotsky as the leader, having the Soviets as a puppet. We'll mess around with Mexico for a bit, and then when Barb happens we'll get involved. You only need to get a bit of war score because you only take one tile to puppet, but you also need to ensure the Axis wins, which is easier said than done. There's so many triggers for Mexico to have a civil war though, so the early game a lot of it's going to be focused on just building up our stability and then conquering and core in Central America. As long as you get your stability above 60%, nothing can happen. Obviously when you go to war that drops it by 20, and then the war support that'll lower it, and the more casualties you get the war support goes down, so the stability goes down. Also the Soviets are going to try and kill Trotsky with an ice pick, so that will invalidate the run if he dies. So we're going to get an agency and do these upgrades and just leave our spies at home. That means any spies that Soviets send will get caught and killed. When Trotsky turns up, do this bottom option so he can become your leader. He can also become your chief of army, and he's a really good one. But first we're going to deal with the Cordillera Rebellion, which is easy enough. All you have to do is this focus here to arrest General Cedillo. Alternatively you could choose to support him, and he's a good general to have. But I'd prefer to go down the left side of this focus tree here, and obviously if you support him you're locked into the right side. I feel the left side is better for communism because I want to hire this fella, Vincenzo Lombardo, and also get the Ejido Workers Militia. The 2% recruitable population is good, but the ticking communism is what we're really after. I mean, we get tons of it. Really quickly we're going to get up to 100% communism, but we're going to need it. That's another 15% stability due to the party popularity of communism. But we are going to need a lot of ticking communism to counteract the effects of this fella, who we're going to hire for the stability. And he gives a ticking democracy support. As you know from when you're trying to flip to a different ideology, the amount of support you already have lowers the effects of that tick. We're going to get a lot of democracy coming in, even though we have far more ticking communism just because of the weighted option of it. So we're also going to ban democratic parties, but we'll do that when their support is lowest so it doesn't hit our base stability. When you get this event about the Archbishop, choose the top one. It weakens your economy, but we're going to need to because the red shirts focus that will flip us communist will weaken the church. So we need them to be one above atheist at least for that. But if you empower the church before, when you do that red shirts focus, it weakens your church by one position, which won't be atheist because we've already empowered them by doing that. Start off by doing these two focuses. If you were going to support General Cedillo, you could do the Jefe Maximo focus, which again gives you a really good general and gives you plus 10% PP, but we have plenty of PP, and as I said, we're not going to support Cedillo. Then we're going to start heading down to support Spain's loyalists. However, we can't do that focus and get General Cedillo arrested before his civil war starts. So I'd probably do the red shirts focus to get communism going up, and then arrest him, and then go and do support Spain's loyalists. So we support the Republicans in the Spanish Civil War, and we send them a few guns, and in return we get a chance to get either Army XP or Naval XP. You can do that decision every 7 days, so just click it. Because, you know, a few guns are nothing compared to completing your doctrine. Like I said, your doctrine will close to being done. From between supporting them, 1 division training, and having Trotsky as your chief of army. So you don't have to send an attaché to China, but if you do, you might want to wait until your fascism is below 10%, because as soon as you send the attaché, Japan will cry about it. And if it's above 10%, that'll take a hit to your base stability. You'd probably only have to wait a month or two after the war starts before you get below that anyway. So then we do these focuses to give us war goals on the Central American nations, and also the ability to call them after we've took them. When we go to war, we'll drop below 60% because you get minus 20% for being at war, and your war support is lowered because it's an offensive war. So just take the nations out one at a time. Those war goals are claimed states, so they last forever. So there's no rush. You will, however, have to research transports before you can take out Panama because you need to cross the canal. So we get all them territories. We're looking at kind of a long Mexico now. We've got them all cored, and we've got a couple of years build up before Barb happens. Yeah, you could go down and attack some of the nations in South America if you wanted, but that sounds fucking terrible.
2 years later.
We'll join the Axis if Germany asks, but it's not necessary. You can get military access from Germany and Romania and attack from there. And we'll help them encircle and kill some divisions on the front line. And we'll also use our tiny navy to get off some naval invasions where we can. We can naval invade around Murmansk. After Finland pusses out, there won't be any Soviets up there really. We'll naval invade around Arkhangelsk as well, but the supply is terrible up there. It does mean we can isolate them around Leningrad and take that, but more than anything we're just forcing the Soviets to divide their troops to try and make Germany's life easier. Like I said, the Axis nations will accept military access for us, but they won't accept military access to us. So any land you take, you're going to have to defend it yourself. So keep your war support above 60% because you're going to have to go service by requirement because we ain't got enough guys to do all this. In vanilla, the AI will never do collabs. So you're in for a bit of a long eastward trek. You're going to have to go up to the Urals. Worst comes to worst, in 45 Japan goes in. But if the Soviets ain't dead by 45, half the Axis probably already is. We'll never go to war with the Allies, so we don't have to worry about the US. But it does mean that you can't help defend about incursions from Iran or D-Day. You know, basically, if you join the Axis, they're almost guaranteed to do a bag of wank. Just because that's how it is. You know, they would have killed the Soviets in 5 seconds if you were trying to up the Soviets. So there is some luck involved. You could go non-historical so that the Allies don't exist and then Germany will get a peace deal after taking France, which will make their life a lot easier if you needed to. Sometimes the Axis will just do terrible and you try your best to carry them, but you can't do everything. You might just have to call it a restart. So good luck.